Okay. Nimaš motivacije. Ne, ni
Samo ne specifično stvar, ne veliko mreža. Stavljam projekt,
Bom sam jasno povedala. Kar izvolite se usesti. So we will continue. Ja, če lahko, ker mi to poznamo, ne bomo pa tudi. So good morning to you all. I'm thrilled to see you in this number, and just to inform you that we will be. Sorry, yeah, I'll have to speak in the mic. Good morning to you all. I'm very happy to see you in such a large number attending this international symposium today called Challenge to Change the Education in Fashion, and we'll be talking different issues, addressing different issues connecting to the subject of today's talks. It is a pleasure that we can have this international symposium today in the great building of City Museum of Ljubljana, which is a part of Museums and Galleries of Ljubljana. And warm welcome to the director of Museum and Galleries of Ljubljana, Mr. Blaž Peršin, who is going to welcome us for today.
Hello, thank you, Tanja. Thank you all to attend this, I think, very important symposium. It is about challenges we have in education. And of course, this kind of challenges we have also in the museum field. So it is very important that you have this meeting also here. In City Museum, we have just now one temporary exhibition, which is a little bit about the history of fashion in our city or our surrounding, and it is about fashion of second part of 19th century and part of 20th century after the Second World War. So it is a little bit a look on the history, how we use clothes, what is clothes today. Also, we are collaborating with different institutions, especially educational one, like the School of Design, which is here nearby, and of course, the Faculty of Design and all others who are involved in this topic. Now, the challenges are really big. We are talking about sustainability, ecology, the different issues, which is important also for the fashion, and also how we see the path from the past till now. Tanja Devetak is also doing a big research about this topic and how we see it now, and what, of course, past can learn us to not make the same mistakes like we have done. So it is a big responsibility also for you, designers, especially students, who will have in mind and must have in mind what important role fashion design is for us, and of course how we see the world around us. So the fashion is part of our lives, and it has to be really improved and to have a look in these important issues we are talking about. I wish you all a pleasant time here. Of course, all the panelists and all who will talk about these topics, and of course, education is our future. Without education, we cannot make a brighter future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, 𝗨𝗱𝗃, for kind words, and forward to our today's meeting. Today I will start with a short overview. I will just switch to another mic. First of all, I will talk about two small researches that I did. And one was made in 2022 and was done with on the basis of some Erasmus plus program. We analyzed in the region in Slovenia, addition to Slovenia, in Croatia, in Serbia, and in North Macedonia, institutions of higher education. And we took, in that review, we took into account studies of the BA, the first level, and the second level MA courses. Methodologically, we set up the analysis in such a way that the review was based on online accessibility, data of program content and curriculum, which in itself show a certain degree of transparency, and that is also a major one in sustainability. In each country, we reviewed the contents of 4 institutions that we detected, except in Northern Macedonia, where only 3 were reviewed. We analyzed the situation more broadly. Therefore, we analyzed programs that are related to design as a broader concept that covers diverse subfields, including also fashion design. And I will not highlight the names of the institutions during the presentation, and I will name them just by numbers. And the purpose of the analysis, because the purpose of the analysis was to determine to what extent, as it was said, sustainable content is included in the higher education programs, and how diverse they are in terms of specific approaches compared to global examples, which I will do later on. In Slovenia, the subjects related to sustainable design are best represented in one institution, where the subjects title are more or less generic, and that means sustainable design or design for sustainable development, or in some cases, cases included as an addition to the main denomination. In the second institution reviewed, they also have subjects that are named in general, like sustainable design, without specifying a subfield or highlighting an individual sustainable strategy. At the third institution, they also carry out courses under the generic names, like sustainable design, which in content covers the topics of cradle to cradle and life cycle design. They also have some more information about the specific curricular content. The last institution reviewed does not have any subject related to sustainable content of the design process. It has subjects related to sustainable technologies, which is identified in this small research as a more technical courses and not very much connected to, or more connected to, the design process itself. Also in Croatia, 4 institutions were reviewed. And 4 of them also offers, among other courses, also courses related to design in their programs. in those at those institutions, they have subjects called like social design and social ecology at the BA level, which is the first level of the study, at the undergraduate level, in the framework of which students acquire knowledge, skills, and methods with which design becomes a means of social innovation, a driver of collaborative practices, and also systematic changes. When reviewing the content at the second institution, we found that they do not have courses neither at first or the second level, neither, that means on the undergraduate or graduate level. No courses that specifically address sustainable design tactics or practices. Even at the third institution, they do not have any courses that specifically deal with sustainable design processes. At the last reviewed institution, they have a course that does not have any content-related indications in the designation that includes sustainable content, but we reviewed the curricula which were accessible, and in this curricula it is seen that they partially cover a content related to individual sustainable design strategies, such as zero waste design or design with focus on sustainable materials. This is mainly used as sustainable materials or anything that is connected with the materials, but not strictly connected with the design processes. Then the third country reviewed, where we summarized data on the inclusion of content of sustainable design processes, was Serbia. At the first institution, it was found in neither at the undergraduate, graduate, neither the graduate level. They did not have any subject included in the study program that would at least formally cover sustainable design in the title. At another institution reviewed, the implementation of study subjects was visible, but as is similar as some other institutions, they deal with materials and approaches in implementation, but do not consider sustainability as a tactic, as a strategy in the design process. Even in the last reviewed institution, they do not have any reference course related specifically to the sustainable design process. The last country reviewed in this small overview, according to available data that we analyzed, the state of inclusion of sustainable content in design studies was North Macedonia. And there we reviewed 3 institutions. The first one, they have the subject tradition and design, and this really is the integration of crafts and handicrafts techniques is sustainable into the design. Sustainable design process is one of the key reference points. So we did say, okay, they do have, but on the graduate level, they do not have any comparable sustainability specific study subjects. At another institution, they have the specific content of the course, name otherwise generically as sustainable interiors. And the last institution we reviewed also has one specific subject with the generic name eco-design. When reviewing the world schools, comparing with what we have in the regions, due to the multitude numbers of schools, we focused on the 10 best schools in Europe that offer study programs in fashion design on graduate and undergraduate graduate level. And these categorizations we summarized according to the research made by Business of Fashion platform, and it was done in 2019. Their evaluation, the criteria for their evaluation was global influence, learning experience, and long-term values. And the ranking was diverse on one side on the undergraduate level and on the other side at the graduate level. I will look at the graduate level. Well, the first place is, I will name them very quickly: Aalto University from Helsinki, Accademia Costume and Moda in Rome in Italy, Bunka Fashion Graduate University Tokyo in Japan, Central St. Martin's in London, Domus Academy Milano, Italy, Dongguan University Shanghai, China, Drexel University Philadelphia in USA, in Paris, France, ESMOT International, Institut Français de la Mode in Paris, France, and the 10th ranking position, Istituto Marangoni, Milano, Italy. Special emphasis in the analysis was on master programs, and those master programs mainly all include some specific sustainability approaches. Some have specific programs like at the 𝗏𝗃 𝗚𝗏, where they have study program in Milan called specifically Fashion Sustainability and Industry Evaluation, which is designed, and I'm quoting, on a holistic approach to sustainability that aims to balance social, environmental, and economic aspects for the long-term well-being of people and the planet, while ensuring the sustainability of business operations and products. At Bunka Fashion Graduate University, they have 2 courses, each from sustainable fashion and fashion design and society, and one specifically which is rare otherwise, and it's called AI, Metaverse, and Fashion. And Central St. Martin's, one of the highlights of the programs is, I'm quoting, collaborative working toward a better futures, where they emphasize working in teams with peers and across discipline, for curriculum embedded interactions and external project briefs. Also in the Institut Français de la Mode in Paris, they emphasize, and I'm quoting, the program prioritize research and collaborations focused on the development of sustainable and ethical design solutions. Overall, in higher education, neither the learned content, competencies, and learning objectives, nor design procedures are fully adopted or harmonized with the requirements of the circular and regenerative economy. In the field of design, especially fashion design, there is a need for additions, adaptations, and or changes, which we talked today, to educational programs in the field that it covers. In the design process, there is insufficient integration, and I think this is crucial, between across institutions, between NGOs, the public sector, and consequently contemporary current solutions do not necessarily reflect environmental, social, and economic challenges. It is necessary to involve various stakeholders, as mentioned, civil society, non-governmental organizations, economy, public institutions, and others in the education process, and thus address relevant content. Only in this way we will form design professional profiles with extended competencies that will enable graduates to engage in design process, offering concrete answers to existing environmental and social changes. So I think we will talk about those topics today, like the sustainability process should be more efficient in addressing following issues: design activism, design craft, design inclusiveness, design innovations, and design from waste. I'm sure that those topics and issues will be addressed today with some of my guest speakers, and I'm warmly welcoming Ms. 𝗏𝗵 𝗘𝗱𝗂 to join me here. 𝗏𝗵 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗂 is a fashion designer, and since 2020 has been a professor at the Technical Education Center Ljubljana, Secondary Vocational and Teaching Technical School Bežigrad in Ljubljana in Slovenia. There she teaches the professional and theoretical subjects of clothing aesthetics, fashion design, and the history of clothing. Prior, she was a professor also at the High School of Design and Photography in Ljubljana. She will present her work named A Challenge to Change in Secondary School. So, Ms. 𝗏𝗵 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗂, please join me here.
Tanja, thank you for your invitation, and good morning to everyone, and welcome to my presentation, Challenge to Change in Secondary Education. Well, fashion is an important companion in our lives today. It is natural and spontaneous expression of man and also society. Fashion has an expressive and narrative power also. But it has changed a lot in last 20 years. Both in terms of dressing, attitudes towards clothes, importance of fashion trends, market importance, aesthetic criteria, and of course also in relation to the profession of fashion designer. I'm afraid that the true mission of a fashion designer is disappearing because his or her role is being taken over by online influencer, mostly self-proclaimed. Today we have the opportunity to consider how to restore the profession of a fashion designer back to real mission. The same applies, of course, to all professions in the textile industry. Our professional training center is a fan of various professions. Among them is the textile department. The 4 years program creator of fashion clothes and 3-year program clothing maker. I think that both are well designed. We would only need to make some upgrades in the curriculum. However, it is really necessary to rename the existing courses and exclude the division of courses by models. Abolition of individual models within a subject, the previous individual models should become subjects. The subject book should consist of independent subjects that are not divided into content sections. For example, in 4th year, the course subject 𝗵, we have in division of 3 parts. 𝗵1, drawing and painting, 𝗵2, fashion design, and 3, pattern drawing. So in one package, we have contents that are different from each other in terms on the way, thinking, conceptual development of work tests. And at the end, we have even a grade to all together. And my opinion is that the grade cannot be objective. So I suggest that use names of objects that are understandable and traditionally understood by the entire textile industry. These terms are fashion design and aesthetics, history of clothing, technology, pattern drawing, tailoring and modeling, drawing and painting, and practical lessons. In this way, we will achieve simplification and easier understanding for students, syllabus and useful terminology in the later work environment. So the information and communication technology, which completely transformed society at the beginning of the 20th century, is the center of human activity in all areas, including fashion creation. That is why training with computer programs is indispensable and necessary today. But in the subject of fashion design and pattern drawing. However, it is true that we need to be careful when we start to include the equal list of digital skills. I think that students must first master freehand drawing in fashion design, because such drawings are more expressive, show the author style, originality, which the computer cannot replace. With the computer, we all become equal. I recommend the use of computer programs for drawing technical sketches rather than fashion ones. And this in senior years, when they already have some fundamental basics for designing clothes. It's been years already since the computer knowledge has become very important. Employers also encourage us to do this because companies also look for this type of employee. Our school bought 𝗨𝗃𝗃𝗃 last year. 𝗨𝗃𝗃𝗃 is an indispensable tool for education in the field of fashion and textiles because it enables the development of digital competences, the simulation of production process, and understanding for connection between design, technology, and production. And in Slovenia, the 𝗨𝗃𝗃𝗃 system is used by companies that operate globally. Some of them we know very well. Since the need of a fashion designer's ability to present his or her product in a sovereign and high quality way is becoming increasingly evident, I suggest supplementing the subject of fashion design with content that includes the basic of fashion photography, a textile description of a project, and advertising. This package also includes a photo and a video editing program. The placement of fashion styling in the subject book, where students acquire the basis for designing a complete clothing image, either for television, for photography, for fashion magazines, consulting the various clients. I think this is an attractive trend for the future too. If we want to preserve the Slovenian culture, heritage, and identity, which we lost after the 19th of the last century, a new subject should be created for the content of clothing heritage. The fundamental goal of which is to develop an attitude towards folk tradition and to make textile products based on tradition, to incorporate elements from the local environment and transfer them to modern textile. An important trend developed by every country that respects its tradition and values and its roots, connected with local society, would be very important here. And then ecological, sustainable, a trend that is very much in the forefront, but I strongly believe also a slightly misleading market niche. I would rather emphasize here that I think it is important to build on a quality of clothes and terribly maintain sustainability, where the products for a long time also know how to properly maintain them. To this end, develop another area in the textile industry, textile maintainer. There is insufficient integration and cooperation with the economy orientated towards the textile profession. Mutual cooperation is very necessary. Our opinions are that employers are not responsive to invitation to present their activities at open days. We know that cooperation is necessary, and from employers inform and method of continuous promotion of the profession. Establishment scholarship system. So this is my view on this challenge in secondary education. I'm sure that we can all contribute to the higher quality of education and respect for the profession of fashion designer.
We'll discuss a bit more about the topic that Carmen has addressed. Welcome, Carmen. It is nice to recognize that actually the fashion, let's say like that, the fashion design and any field, a professional field has its vertical education line. Mm-hmm. And it's also has many branches. It's not just one straight line, but has many different education centers. And you've been working in two of them, which are very important for the secondary level of education. You also addressed importance of integrating real projects, practical projects, integrating institutions from business to be more integrated in the curricula. How do you feel that this, in the future, it should develop this practicum, the practice-based curricula? What are the obstacles today which has to be overcome in the future to have graduates with more competencies in the real world that they will be entering after the graduation?
Well, I need to tell that our school has enough practical lessons because we have them 6 per week for sewing. And this is different, for example, of School of Design and Photography here. They have only 2 or 4. And in this way, I think the program is good. But we have many problems in cooperation with textile industry. Which disappears or not want to work with us and with our students.
Why do you think this is an issue for them? Why they don't want to be integrated more into the school processes? I've heard from, I know that those businesses are small or micro scale in Slovenia case. And for them, it's very difficult to maintain cooperation next to their jobs that they are doing. So how can you make from your side more approachable this connection?
They all tell us that they don't have time for the students because they need to do their work. And because of that, a lot of textile industry cannot neither employ the students, neither give them a practical lessons in specific way of textile.
You also, maybe just for the clarification, this program is aligned with programs that not naturally connect, like auto mechanic,
Yes,
and
true.
yeah, some similar ones. How do you think it should be in the future? Should be like clusters that are like in design, connected with the design programs that are connected with the design. You also addressed photography, video, presentation, which is a media connected subjects. How that would help to develop, to increase the interest, more interest to enroll in this kind of educational programs?
Yes, our school has a fan of different programs. There are mechanics, then also logistic and so on. And textile department is the most different of those programs. And of course, we would like to be together with another schools or another programs which have inside more design, which have inside manual skills. For example, graphic designer, or for example, hairdressers, photography, and so on.
You also mentioned the importance of naming programs and courses more directly, more maybe properly, or according to the curricula.
Yeah.
Do you think that after graduation, when they gain those titles, they will be more applicable in the field?
Yes, I'm
because
sure
of
that.
okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Because those subjects, those name of subject, now it is not understandable for
whom? For
textile,
students?
Also for students,
students?
for students, also for professors. We mix together everything, and also for textile industry, for the future people.
So also you would help to build again more stronger textile and clothing industry here. You did mention the connection between the like design craft, which as I know it's rather integrated in your programs. How do you deal with artificial intelligence? As I mentioned before, there is one subject in one of the higher education institution called AI, Metaverse and Fashion. How do you integrate those fields, which are the future subfields in the fashion? How do you integrate them in your programs today, or do you plan to do it in the future?
We plan to do it in the future. We have working groups in CPE, and perhaps in 5 years, or I hope a little bit freer, we make another names and understandable names.
Just one question regarding this practical work. In theory, and scholars are addressing this issue as a crucial one, that students should have more real practical projects which combine diverse institutions. Do you have them already, or do you see that in the future that should happen? How do you see your role as some kind of crossroad of the different institutions that are helping to build better secondary educational program?
We do make 1 or 2 projects per year with with another companies, or for example now we have already finished costumes for fairy tales. But it is a problem to do more external project, because of curriculum.
It is not integrated in the curriculum.
It is not integrated.
Therefore, I'm asking. Yeah. So, do you feel that it should be more integrated in the curricula?
Of course. Yes.
As a part, as an open curricula that you have more open.
Because a designer must be open in the world, and they need to work with another industry, textile industry, and another institutions, and so on.
I've just heard a few days ago there was a talk with about the educational programs and approaches around the world, and I've learned about one experimental thing that happened in Croatia, where they have built a curricula for one course that is totally open. It's empty, and each year it's filled by students themselves, which it's very intriguing for me, how they can build for themselves. What do you think your students would most likely put in the empty curricula for the next year? What would that be?
How to express themselves
in a free way.
Yes.
So communication is still one of the general topics to address, and probably it's not that much included yet in the curricula.
In the curricula, yeah.
Should be. So thank you, Carmen, for your insights in the secondary field of education, and we will be talking about it furthermore also. So thank you.
Thank you.
So my next guest is Miss Barbara Velko, and we will be talking further about this vocational secondary school. She's responsible for the preparation and development of professional standards and national professional qualifications in the areas of health and social security, audiovisual creation and music, dance and performing arts, education of educators, and care of preschool children. In the same professional areas, she participates in the development of training and advanced training programs and in the preparation of additional qualifications. Please welcome. I'll be just shortly adding some of your professional fields. She's also involved in various domestic and international projects within the profession. She coordinates the work of 2 sectoral committees, namely Health and Social Security, and very important for us, Education, Arts and Culture. She advises on the implementation of procedures for obtaining and developing national professional qualifications in the NGO sector and in the public sector, especially in the field of Slovenian Sign Language, the integration of migrants, Roma and other vulnerable groups into Slovenian society, like employment and training. She also advises on the definition of key employee competencies, and I'm sure she's going to be talking about many topics today. So please, a warm welcome for Barbara Velko.
Thank you very much, Tanja. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity today to present to you our work, my work, our work at the National Institute for Vocational Education and Training, or in Slovene language, CPI. I think Carmen mentioned us before, maybe more known, Center Republike Slovenije za poklicno izobraževanje. So, about us, as maybe mentioned in a way before, we are Central National Development and Research Institution in the field of vocational education and training. What we do is that also we are kind of a meeting point of the interest from both sides, from the government on one side and social partners on the other side. Social partners are mainly employers in enterprises for the field, because it's vocational education. So as you heard, we develop vocational qualifications. Qualification means educational programs also. It's one of qualification educational program, which are the most, you're most familiar with, but there are also others I will mention later. And we prepare qualifications across all sectors, from agriculture to, let's say, health. In addition to this, we also very actively participate in numerous international and local projects aimed at enhancing education and labor market needs. We are also proud to serve as a reference point for the Slovenian qualification framework, SQF, maybe you heard, Europass, 𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗃, and other important initiatives that ensure that Slovenia remains connected to European standards in education and training. However, it is important to mention that we, so the Institute for WET, operate across levels 3 to 6. That is according to the European qualification framework, 3 to 5. These are the levels. The alignment ensures that our qualification meet European standards, enabling recognition and mobility, also for you, for learners, as well as later when you obtain or when you get a qualification for you as a workers across Europe. Now let's get more into our today focus, the qualification in the field of design. But firstly, I would like to explain how curricula or educational program or qualification is developed, because this is what we do. We prepare methodologies for qualifications, and occupational standard, for example, is one of the most important bases, or let's say it's a starting point to prepare qualification, because occupational standards tell us that this is the occupation market needs, and it's prepared together with social partners. It means with ministries, with zbornice, kako se že, chambers, enterprises, and also together with schools later when the curricula is prepared. But the beginning, so the occupational standard is prepared only with employers and employees. Later with schools. What shows, or what is occupational standard? It's in fact, it's a list of knowledge, skills, and competencies that are required for specific occupation. Occupational standard is not only job, it's like more similar jobs together. Maybe the name is not always the best. It's very difficult to find the best name, But for example, now you can see here an example of the designer qualification or the curricula on the levels SQF5, that occupational standard that are part or the design, let's say, the qualification are the three that are listed here. So it's industrial design, if I can maybe translate, maybe it's not the best translation. Then modni oblikovalec, or we are talking today about, so the fashion designer and graphical designer. So this is the qualification or the curricula in the field of design, and on the right side it's fashion stylist, which is also in this in the design field according to, again, some kind of one classification called Classius. We are stick to, it's modni stylist or fashion stylist, but this fashion stylist is in fact for adults, and adult means for candidates that are 18 years and older, and you can get this this qualification based on your non-formal or informal knowledges. Maybe you heard, for this system we also have in Slovenia, it's called National Qualification System. It has its own act. It's from 2020, and it's the qualification you get through the validation of these knowledges I mentioned, non-formal and informal. So it's not the point that you go to school. You can, of course, also go to school and get the education, but maybe you, I don't know, you educate yourself in, let's say, as a photography, but you're also interested in fashion stylism. And if you are 18 or older and you already have some experience from this field, you can go in front of experts and you show them your knowledge. And then you get the certificate, which is also it is also included in the Slovenian qualification framework, what means that you can go wherever in Europe and they will recognize your qualification, same as education. Maybe in Slovenia is not that popular, because in Slovenia still education is more known qualification, but in other Western countries, qualification which is obtained through your experiences, work experiences, or even hobbies, it's not needed that you are employed. In fact, that it's important that you know you have the knowledge, you have the skill, and you can show through very practical, in a practical way, you show it in front of the commission. It's one of experts, three experts who check your knowledge. And here is also are listed also the occupational standard for the qualification Carmen mentioned. Maybe I put different name of the qualification, but it's not, it's the same one. But this is only I listed for the fifth level, so the fashion clothing designer, or I think you mentioned it's a creator of the creator, and here I also the occupational standard listed for this qualification. So now let's move more to the design sector. As you all know what is written here, I'm sure you are familiar and you can approve this. But why it's important to know what is the design factor for us that we prepare occupational standard. It's important for us when we prepare occupational standards and curricula because we need to understand what are the current trends in the sector and pinpoint the skills, knowledge and competencies that form occupational standards and are essential for the future workforce. That's why we have prepared this year a study together in cooperation with experts from the field of design. And this study will serve as the foundation for revising occupational standards and later on renewing educational programs in order to meet these emerging needs in the sector. As part of this study, we conducted desk research, service interviews all in 2024, and also the methodology behind. It was a pilot study, in fact, that we will also use in other studies for other sectors. And with this study, we identify key trends and the demands for new skills. The findings of the study highlight several critical areas where occupational standards and educational programs need to be improved. So let me now just introduce you just the most outstanding these critical areas that tell us what to improve in standards and curricula. So as we were told, this study was made with the interviews and desk researches and everything and surveys I mentioned with employers, with employees, with chambers, with ministries, and also with you, with students. And it was really, it's what we find out that it's very important when we ask you what you need, the students. It's like in all fields, don't talk, let's all say. When you want to improve something, ask the one that you do it for. As for example, ask migrants if you prepare new strategies for migrants, or ask pupils what you need. And you and all others told us that educational programs should place greater emphasis on digital skills, such as the use of modern software, artificial intelligence, UI, UX design, sustainable development, which is today the focus. And this is really also important part we are also including in the standards, and audiovisual knowledge. These skills are crucial to stay competitive in the global market. So the digital skills, of course. The next point that was shown is that students and trainees are currently lacking sufficient technical and practical knowledge, particularly in the use of new materials and advanced manufacturing technologies, such as working with CNC machines, etc. Design thinking is also an underdeveloped area. Our research shows that students and trainees tend to invest too little in the initial phases of problem solving, such as research, analysis, and ideation, which are crucial steps in the design process. Students and trainees also show weak organizational skills, particularly in planning work process and managing time. Furthermore, socialization skills for teamwork are insufficient, and there is also a noticeable gap in marketing knowledge and skills that are essential for promoting design work and, of course, to sell it in the marketplace through, of course, new social media platforms. This is important. All these findings indicate that to meet labor market demands, we need to revise our occupational standards and educational program in order to equip students with a broader set of skills that are directly relevant to the future of the design sector. So this is really shortly all from my side, but I would also like to stress that since we are dedicated to foster better vocational education and training, we warmly invite you all, whether you represent the labor market, industry or education, or you as pupils and students, that you share with us initiatives and ideas for the revision of the standards and curricula. We are all in the same on the same path, so it's important to cooperate. And I know we also have challenges, we need to say, with enterprises, and with them to the Carmen mentioned, it's difficult to cooperate, that you get practical experience, but this is the study how we needed to do, because we don't have direct connection with the industry. So we need to find other paths to see what industry needs, and you can also help us if you are not directly from the labor market. So we are happy we will be happy for all your ideas. This is my mail. Also, it's one info 𝗵𝗸𝗃 if you want to send any initiatives, ideas, will be happy, more than happy. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Barbara. We'll be talking a bit more with the topic that you have addressed, so please join me here. Here's your mic. So, Barbara, you mentioned that everything is about the communication.
Yes.
And you are the center of the cross communication in the field. So it should be the CPI, the Center for Vocational Training and Education of the Republic of Slovenia. It's not the institution that forces all of us, the education, the enterprises, the economy, the businesses, how they should operate, but you are a center that foster these educational programs in a more future-oriented directions. So you are leading us. You are trying, yeah. And I'm sure you have a very hard work to do it, because each sector, I think in Slovenia especially, we are very much divided. We don't understand that the educational process is the beginning of the working process. It's not divided, and it's not a sector per se. It's something that should be connected, cross-connected with other fields, and also vice versa, all the other fields as well. In this sense, you mentioned professional standards, occupational standards, and qualifications. As I've learned, and here's a little disclaimer, we worked together in some areas. I find that knowledges, competencies which are named in the qualifications, occupational standards, like namely fashion designer, pattern cutter, or sewer, whatever it is named, or are more connected to the actual competencies that would be needed afterwards they graduate. But looking from perspective of the of the qualifications, there is like discrepancy what is the curriculum offers and what the competencies should be then afterwards. How do you handle this discrepancy? Where do you see the problem, how to overcome that they are not more integrated, those two sides of your work?
You mean that they are not?
I think it's working now, Domen.
Okay.
Is it working, the mic?
Because okay, you mean integrated in the curricula? How should they be?
Yeah, how they should be. More connected. Yeah.
Yeah. First is that that we try to, let's say, to put in a curricula as much as possible what is needed, but later on, of course, and how we put this in the curricula, of course, is what I mentioned before. It's important that we are, let's say, told from the labor market, or that we check the labor market. So we do both. We ask labor market to send us initiatives, because and on the other side we also check with studies and so on. So, but again, in the curricula something is written, but this is still just a paper. And the next step is then the operational part in schools. Of course, what is on the paper can be, let's say, 10 years old or 15. Especially curricula cannot be changed like all the curricula every year. But this is why we have this open curricula you mentioned before. Maybe this is the way how can some topics be included maybe faster, and also the practical, the way how teachers teach. They are really autonomous how they go to how they do what they do with pupils. They teach, and in all these learning methods nowadays are really very, very good, let's say, and especially we want to stress that it's important that they use practical way of teaching. So project work, you also mentioned before, and this is what labor market tells us is one of the most important way, because students are not that familiar with this. So these are the ways that are completely, let's say, open to schools and teachers, how they use what is written on the paper, on the curricula, and put it in the classrooms.
Yeah, of course. One is the theory, and the other one is the practice. How you actually then do and implement all the written knowledges and I don't know, skills and competences that you should develop throughout the educational process. in Croatia, they have similar agency like Center for Vocational Professional Education. In Slovenia we have, but they follow the whole vertical line of educational line up to the higher education programs. You finish with 6th level. How do you feel? And I think that's a very some kind of a benefit you get from it, because you then really can follow all these competencies throughout the levels of education. How would you find that as a challenge within your work? Of course, your institution should be empowered with human resources and financially and all sorts of important stuff to be more present in the educational process. But do you think that is a lack for being more efficiently involved in educational changes, if you could be able to follow this vertical line throughout the higher education level? Do you think that would change anything? And also, of course, you mentioned that you have wishful thinking with your work, but then it's up to the educators how they implement. How can you be more involved in the implementation? Do you have any possibilities of supervision of implementation of those standards that you develop?
Well, about the first issue you mentioned, so we cover the whole vertical in our Slovenian system. It's not possible one nowadays, because we know that faculties, university is autonomous. So and the vocational education and training has one thing that it's very important. One stress why we prepare according to occupational standards curricula is that we are obliged, let's say, to correspond to labor market needs, but faculties are not that much.
That is a problem.
Yeah, I know. So maybe we
should address as well.
We could suggest this to our government so that we can maybe change in this way. But yeah, it is. But on the other side, as I remember, when I went to university, I was told you go to university it's not important that you will work in this, what you will study. It's important that you study to get this, let's say,
broad knowledge
but
and competencies.
But still, today you can enter a faculty also with vocational school. And maybe this is the way. Vocational school gives you opportunity, gives you skills and not especially knowledge to work something concrete. Because if you go to gymnasium, it's not the way. So, and later on, maybe you enter something that you are interested in, but you still have vocational knowledge from. So it's open. All the paths are open in Slovenia. So maybe.
You know that European Union encourages lifelong learnings. This is something that we should also more implement in the Slovenian culture of education. We do, as I know, one of the research shows that we are very good in the lifelong learnings about our hobbies. Like, sports, languages, and so on. But we are very poor in numbers, in percentages, concerning the lifelong learnings within the professions, within our working environments. We still don't understand that as a mean of development. as something that we should do really lifelong. Where is standing the institution as CPI with
With
its
this.
yeah?
Yeah, exactly. This is European initiatives, I think until 2030, like 60% of all active people should be, in a way, included in the lifelong learning. What means that European Commission or Europe will finance all these initiatives in countries, and this is also for all the institution like us is important, and it's good because it will be we will be all financed to prepare different possibilities to stay involved in for all the people who want. So we, for example, prepare now we have a lot of meetings. Now we are also at the beginning for micro credentials. I know that faculties already have this. Is
Some of them,
and also other institution together with our will prepare these trainings, different training, either for adults or for also for youngsters. For adults, for example, for the system I mentioned, national qualification certificate, that is possible to get according to skills or to hobbies or whatever, so that will be prepared. I think 𝗬𝗲𝗹𝗃 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗃 Employment Service will have these programs so that people can enter and maybe later also gain the qualification, the certificate that later on can be usable for mobility for the workforce, because we know that it's lack of workforce everywhere, not only in Slovenia. So this is why Europe decided to support this programs in order to make with especially with digital and sustainable these competencies. So all the modernization we are also in of the educational program. So until 2026, we will also revise a lot of educational programs. This will be the first part. They will all be in all the programs. A lot of new competencies will be revised, especially, as I mentioned, digital and sustainability, which is also the focus for this.
Also with the national professional qualifications, because those are, I don't know if you are all familiar with national qualification, professional qualifications, which are basically similar to micro credentials but a little bit different, which they are non-formal qualifications which you can get for certain competencies that you have gained throughout your working experience.
Yeah, I mentioned
and which is very, very a good one in Slovenia, very broadly developed. But how often do you revise those competencies in the
national qualifications? In fact, occupational standard is the basis for both paths. This is important according to the law for national qualification. So occupational standard is basis either to prepare educational programs. This is one path, so the educational path, or the skills paths, the national qualifications when you get then the certificate, which is not education. I have to stress this national qualification through this for the certificate is not qualification, but it has almost the same importance, especially in other parts of Europe. Slovenia also in some sectors has the same meaning, but where the education is needed to it's 𝗨𝗃𝗂𝗰 is the purpose to get a job condition to get a job, then this national qualification certificate is not enough. But we are trying to every year more and more, and every year more and more sectors puts as a condition not only education but also possibility for the 𝗨𝗃𝗀𝗃 certificate, especially in those sectors where, for example, there is no possible to get education, or where they knew that having experience can be even sometimes even more, or at least the same credibility, or I don't know, whatever the point that someone can get the job. So, for example, let me give you an example. Our institution 𝗨𝗱𝗃𝗃, the radio, there is medijski
Media center.
I mean the school for media now, but before the school prepared this program, there were people working on 𝗨𝗱𝗃𝗃 without this education, because there were no education for this field. So there were people working years and years. They got experiences, and at the end they went through this 𝗨𝗃𝗃𝗃 system, and they gained the certificate. So it changes, and they put in their sector these possibilities that you also can have the certificate if you don't have the education from this field.
Just a reminder for the fashion design, as you have shown, we have 3 qualifications: fashion designer, creator of fashion clothing, and fashion stylist. And before we go to coffee break, which I think we all need, there's just a little paradox, because this national occupational qualification, it's for the fashion stylist. Yes. And most of the fashion designers which have finished their school and graduate fashion design, most of them work as fashion designers. So I think fashion stylist, so fashion stylist probably should be as a formal educational program, because so many people are in demand for this kind of occupation. So yeah, this is one real situation that we are
already
facing.
have this discussions that we should include more competencies or this from modern from fashion stylists into the curricula. So it's going this way.
Yeah, because it's a real situation for all the youngsters entering the business world. Thank you, Barbara Velko, for your insight on how all these programs and qualifications are managed and implemented. And as I said, coffee break is waiting for you outside. So we'll be meeting after that again, and go further on up to the education level, up to the higher education. So see you soon. Hvala, Barbara.
Tlele bomo dali neki na mikrofone.
Ja, super. To je res, ko so se zapletali, se sem izgledala.
Guard. Thank you.
Situacija. Tam so dizajna tudi barov. Tako je zdaj predstavljeno.
Aha, ja.
Nekaj o tem, če se ti, če se na študiju izobražuješ, sem potem ne poveš, ko smo videli, certifikat. Sem tudi dat someday.
Dej. Kaj ti predstavljaš?
A?
Kaj ti predstavljaš?
A ne? Si se prav. Ne vem, to je res tako. Ko smo se na leta, 𝗨𝗶𝗵𝗁𝘁 v Sloveniji. Ne, vsem, mogoče bi šel. A, vidiš, je tako razak mi je zadnjič, ki bi zdaj bom moral vprašati to. Če nek 75 ali bi se spirala, da mislim, že govorila, da se špila še v Zagrebu. In pač, ja, tako, on je enkrat govoril, da je njegov friend se pozdaj predstavljal na Tenerife in da potem delal kot stilist. Dream job, dream job. Veš, kaj mislim?
Mislim.
Really, really insane. But it's cool, I mean, I just felt so at home that mostly pač zapadla in ja, naredim par stvari tam, grem naprej.
Honestly, če pa ne postaneš, odpreš na lokalček, igraš v lokalčku in če se imaš fajn, ne bo tako.
Pač tam je ta vulkan tega in pod tem vulkanom je nekaj vasice 𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗇. It's not based on 𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗇, but it's just called like that. And it's perfect. 𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗇 𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗃.
Ja, lej.
Ne vem, naprimer, Valencija mi res ni tako dogajala, kot naprimer tale. Da bi videl si na nekaj fashion šole, ki jih imajo ti na neki kupoli, na tistih vodnih parkih, ne vem kaj. In sem je tako like,
Greš tam na fashion show?
ja. Veš, sem na 2 ure zapomnil, da sem like, jaz sem 𝗶𝗇cije𝗯𝗏. Let's go to the 𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗏. Ampak zdaj sem stojič pa tako malo strašila, ker sem like, ti že te priseljencev pobijajo, sem čim tako. It makes sense. It makes all the sense. But I know people that live that are kind of special. Misliš, da je to tudi fora? Drugač pa ja, ne vem, zdaj celo na začetku malo travelat around Europe, tako like, I need to do stuff here. In poznam eno ženo, ki tudi zaradi 𝗏𝗃𝗃 nekaj študentka v Parizu. In popolna je that did so much. Sem se pofolovala na Instagramu in že hodila in govorila in ful všeč na plačke, 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃. Sem rekel, da je on do marca, mislim, da konec februarja še tle noter. Ampak pa lahko imamo kolab, pa čez gremo v Francijo, štega, že gremo v dizajn, to lahko handam, pa kolab, nekaj to pokažem. Pač she's perfect. Je pa ta reka mi lajka, ljubim njega. Čekaj. Jo, ne delam nobeni podatki. Tudi en začel twist, pač ni to bilo res. This is not a joke for me.
Dit is de leden die een stap op zijn handen. Maar 𝗏𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗃, nee, het is maar nog geen dat. Dat describes sour.
This is the bitch.
Ooh.
Well, it was ugly. Oh my. I love that. I need Arctic fucking insane. It's not 𝗨𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗃 𝗃𝗱𝗃. I need this. I need this in my life. I need to keep it sweet and amazing, beautiful, well. Fucking I'm like a child, I'm spinning the teeth, literally. I need to go ful znamo že, da on gre. Mogoče to je res iz tistega filma, ki je zdaj pač prišel od Maržela. Kaj nisem bil ful tako, like, this is not news to me, pač veliko so vsi obrazili, this is not news to me. Ampak sem pa videl tisti film in meni se je ful knjige na tistega filma in tisti film je, poglej si, to je res pač, iz tistega filma, jaz sem bil sam, ko se podaj, točno to, točno fucking to, točno fucking to, točno fucking to, točno fucking to. Sem biblioteka, kako zvedela, kada se resnila, kada se spet najšče zbavljam film tukaj.
Se je van mij niet
Včeraj sem zvekli igrala Mardi Fašič. Ali bi kupovala toga?
Ja, ful je ja, ful je.
Ta te pikice na Joški sem kupovala. Čekaj še eno obstaja. Ne, fakt, zelo sem na Instagramu. Jaz ne, si imamo girlfriend, ne?
Mislim, da ja.
Čekaj, tole.
Opa, mačka.
Tole mačka. Ja. Največ že 𝗶𝗵𝗃,
Oh my god, perfect.
Oni popolno ne zato ljudi. Kaj si ti to veš na 𝗶𝗵𝗃?
Mislim, da je to staviti.
𝗶𝗵𝗃. Kaj te daj?
Jaz sem pa tako.
Ja, ne sem moče še vedno več študirati, ampak
Abi imam zdrobljene orele, če hočeš.
zdrobljene urevke.
Pa da, v torbi.
Jo, popolno bojo oni zdaj.
Jaz sem pa nič.
Ja, ni boš urevka. To je čukja. Ja.
Kiki svuda. Ne grem do špila, pa ne grem sem tam bolj spati.
Nekaj do špila res malo šlo. Nekaj pa kadno.
Ja grem na kosilo. Grem na kolada. Suši dela.
Popolno je špila.
Ja, tudi si moram iti v kako se reče, evropskim posodinjem.
Dobro, a te špila, te ne priješ?
Ne,
Hvala.
to je za mene. Da bi delala sushi bake.
Hva?
Sushi bake.
Ja, to ono, kar je tako,
Pač tako daš, pa daš bolj tako losos, pa ti soline, in pa daš tako čimpinejo, pa siračo. Ima onega furikakeja, in pa si pečeš, da se to peče tako malo. In pa ješ z onim
tako lepo ne pa.
seaweed chips, ja.
Nice.
To bo amazing.
Res.
Komaj čakam. Moram pa nekaj lososa kupiti. Odkar sem nehala biti vegetarijanska, mama to ne počne.
Mislim, da ponavaditi jesti. Zato zaradi tega, ker sem bil res Lebenszeit. Lebenszeit.
Meni se pa sem minalo.
Pogovarjam sem bil nekje.
Jaz sem se prehodila na očepenega fotra Abrahama. Smo šli ja 𝗨𝗶𝗵𝗶𝗵 pa 𝗨𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗵. Smo se sami povabili na njenega fotra Abrahama.
To je popolno. Kaj bo bilo?
Ful dobro karaoke sem imeli. Znaš, da me je raztrgala.
Joj, Tita, jaz tebe to kravmek. To ni res.
Ali ja ne znam tako tona držati pač.
Perfektno mi je. Moje, da si popolno.
In moja najljubša pesmica je Samo ljubezen.
Popolno si.
Evo. Ali, ja ne ni karaoke. Doma da bilo.
Bom probala na projektu.
Ja.
Listen, why when ABC?
I think.
Če imaš ti bi bil tudi vršen. Vojna doza veselja.
Da ne bi kje zaspala.
So here we are again. Here we are again. No. We have a lady. Doesn't work. Okay. Okay. Ne? Yeah. Okay. Yamaha. Okay. Coffee break. Ok, se pogreška je. Ni nič groznega. Hello? Oh, we are. So we are back now. And continuing with our presentation and talks, hopefully some interesting thoughts we have raised. My next guest used to be my colleague as well. Professor Dr. 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 is a designer, a design researcher, and an educator. So he really covers all areas of fashion design and design in general. He holds a professorship for subject didactics in fashion and design at the University College of Teacher Education, Vienna in Austria, where he contributes to the Institute of Secondary Vocational Education in the Department for Fashion and Design. In addition, he serves as the program coordinator for the master's program in fashion management further. He is also a member of the curriculum committee at the University College of Teacher Education, Vienna. He's also a visiting professor at the University of Applied Arts, where he also graduated. In Austria, teaching, but these days teaching at the Center for Didactics for Art and Interdisciplinary Education. Professor Dr. 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃, please, welcome.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much for the invitation and this lovely introduction. when Tanja emailed me some months ago, I was like, if I want to come and do a presentation, I was like, yeah, lahko bom govoril po dolgem času spet po slovensko, but now I have to do it in English. So let's try to do it like that way. So the topic of my presentation is called Threads of Change, Reimagining Fashion Education for a Sustainable Future. As already mentioned, I work at those two institutions. Why is it like that? In Austria, we have educational clusters where professors have to teach at different universities in the same educational cluster, which means that my main institution is the University College of Teacher Education, but I have to teach, or I'm allowed to teach, let's say it like that, as well at the University of Applied Arts in Vienna. My first question that I would like to raise today is, does fashion design education need a redesign? And I will not spell, or I will spell the T and I will say yes. And in my thoughts today, I will cover why this is like that. And first of all, I would like to say that fashion design education is old. It's very old, it's outdated, and misaligned with the needs of our society and the environment. So the question we have to ask, or the further question we have to ask, is how can fashion design education or fashion design as a design discipline positively shape the future instead of reproducing outdated problematic structures? We should not forget that fashion as a system is still being recognized as something that is very Western, that is something that is very European, and we are just forgetting about other fashion continents or other fashion identities or even other fashion stories. I think this is a very nice example of how we are perceiving the world in which we are living, and it's very Western oriented. When I was teaching in the year 2014 in Malaysia, we had a map of the world there as well. But it did not look like that, but there was Malaysia in the center, and Europe was on the left, and the United States were on the right. And when I saw this map, the first time I was like, what's that? I didn't recognize it, which actually means how European-centristic we are through all of our educational systems. So if we go to the origins, fashion design education was developed as a response to the Industrial Revolution. Designers were, before the term designer there existed, were artists. So the first designers were, so to say, artists, and the Industrial Revolution needed some new experts that will be able to design things. Status quo, what is the problem? Fashion education often remains limited to technical skills. So this is, in my opinion, a very big problem. And second, most educators in fashion and or textile design in Europe understand subject didactics and fashion design as something that is primarily concerned with what is being taught, rather than on how the necessary competences are convened. This was a research project that I did together with a colleague of mine, 𝗏𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏, in the year 2020, where we conduct 18 interviews with professors in fashion design in 7 or 8 different European countries. And this is what we found out in that research project. Further, the big problem, climate change and environment structure. So what can fashion designers do when it comes to climate change? Should we think about clothing that will be applicable and adaptable to those climate changes? Or should we rethink how we produce things? The second huge problem is still the unethical and illegal labor that is used to produce clothes. We are all still buying legally clothes that are being produced illegal. Yeah, this is something that we should not forget. And the third, and in my opinion also a very big problem, is the lack of diversity and inclusion. If you are having no body problems, or just say it like it is, you're not having problems buying clothes. But if you have some conditions, if you are disabled, if you are in a wheelchair, if you're having, or even if you're old, yeah, and you're having problems with the motorical skills of your hands, you have problems buying clothes that fit you when you have problems buying clothes that will be useful for you, and fashion is somehow just ignoring those situations. The second or the third or the fourth problem probably is, again, something that is, in our opinion, something we have to reconsider or rethink, is the education is still very much focused on training rather than education. There are very little universities in Europe. There are some in the United States, but in Europe there are maybe 3 or 4 that actually have the subject called fashion studies or fashion theory as a basic in the fashion design education. You would never come to your university where you would study mathematics or where you would study physics, and there would not be an introductory course to theory of mathematics. And in fashion, this is something completely normal because the education is still very much focused on training rather than education. Then another important topic is the paradigm shift in education. Like 5, 6, 7 years ago, we were very much concerned about teaching, and now the shift goes towards learning, which means that everything is focused on the student as a learner and as an even researcher. So, and we should not forget that education can act as utopia. Because when you start to study becoming a fashion designer, you're actually wanting to become something that is quite utopical, that is something that is quite magical, and it's something that is quite interesting. But those things mostly, in most cases, do not come true. So we have to think about advising education for a good life for all instead of pursuing profit-driven notion of better. We should not think about who will become the next fashion designer, but the next fashion superstar, but we should think about things like, what can we do to make life of others better or just good enough? So what can we do in education for that? So last year we received a call from the Ministry of Education of the Republic of Austria. And they said that we have to change our curriculum because until now, the students, when they study to become educators in the field of fashion, they have to do a bachelor degree, which is 4 years long, and then they have to do a master degree, which is 1 year long. And now, because there is a huge lack of working labor, a huge lack of professors, they decided to lower down the grades or lower down the numbers. So they will need to do a bachelor, which will take them 3 years, and they will have to do a master, which will take them 2 years. So on the end of the evening, it's still 5 years. Nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is that they can enter the working environment earlier. So when we were trying to develop this curriculum, we said, okay, what are the competences that students will need when we are talking about students that will finish the university in 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 years? Because a curriculum in Austria normally is being changed every 8 to 10 years. Like the last change was in the year 2015. So we are around between 8 and 10. And now we have to think about the future. And we wanted to have a curriculum that is really scientifically based and that is based on scientific research. And that's why we started in the outer layer of the curriculum. Here you have the visualization of it. Education for sustainable development. Education is the only way how we can all live in peace. Without education, there are wars, there are stupid things happening, so we need an education that will be able to produce sustainable futures. Then we saw further and we defined the first core competences that every student should have. Completely not really important what is he or she studying, and these are the so-called 4 C's, which are communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. Those are those 4 major skills. And then we went further, and here we used or applied the future skills for the 21st century from Ellis, and he developed those skills into 3 different categories. First category is self-developed related competences. This will be convened mostly in the first year. Then the second competences are directed towards object-related competences. This will be educated in the second year. And we have then organizational-related competences, which will be conducted in the third year. And then we have something we have pedagogical science, educational science, then we have subject didactics, and then we have German as a second language, which is very interesting as well. It's a new subject that is coming now into vocational education training. And then we divide our educational program into 5 columns. The first one is digitality. The second one is entrepreneurship. The third one is production, the fourth one is interaction, and the fifth one is design. And in all of these 5 columns, the students have to do at least 10 ECTS points, and the rest is on them. So they can decide for themselves, either they want to specialize in entrepreneurship, or they want to specialize in interaction, or in design, or whatsoever. So it's about students, they're choosing their own path, and it's about students which are then responsible for their education. And this is what I was talking about before, that we are switching it, we are going from teaching to learning. And so how could these formats look like? I brought some 3 examples with me. The first one would be a format that would inform self-development related competences in the column design. This is just specifically for the subject design because I'm responsible for that. And one example would be student-driven research lab, which means that educators act as mentors and students are learning from each other in the first year to see what do they know, what do they don't know. And this is a completely different system, because normally you have here a professor or a teacher and the students are there. But here in this subject, the situation is completely changed. Then the second one, resilience bootcamp. It is very important that students become more resilient because the world is just not nice. We have to face it how it is. And in education, it's making mistakes or doing some failure, something that is not really recognized as something very positive. But if we make a switch again and we make a turn, then we can learn many things from making mistakes. So they would actually come to the university to make mistakes and to fail and to learn something from that. Then self-directed design residencies. This is my favorite one of those 3 ones for the first year. Students spend a semester working independently on a project of their choice, mentored by an untypical fashion figure. For example, working with a farmer or working with a philosopher, they document their journey and learn learning processes through reflective journals. Then we go to the second year. Here we have object-related competences in the column of design. So one of the possibilities here could be AI-driven co-design studios, where students learn how to design objects, where they learn how to design collections with the help of an artificial intelligence or with the help of some algorithms. We should not forget that we are in the very big revolution now. And I see it I'm quite worried about it, because the jobs that we considered as being stable will more or less disappear. You don't need to be a fashion designer anymore. You just prompt it and you just write down, design me a piece of clothing that I will wear to this occasion. It should have this colors, it should have this and this and this and this. And the artificial intelligence is already able and capable to do this from you. And then you use another artificial intelligence program where you tell it, make me the pattern, and then the pattern will be designed, and so on and so on. So everything is being automized, and we really have to prepare future design students for this world. Then material exploration residencies, students collaborate with artisans and designers. This is a very big topic and a very important one, because through the Industrial Revolution, the artisan was just separated from the designer, and they're not working together anymore. But as we can see, if they work together, they can produce really interesting things. And then the third possibility would be regenerative fashion studios. And here students a research pre-colonial clothing systems such as zero-waste cutting techniques or communal garment production, and adopt these practices for contemporary fashion. And then the third year, here we would have organization-related competences. Here we have one possibility of decolonizing design networks. Students work in self-organized teams that are across global location to create collections. Then the second one would be XR Design Studio. Students design for hybrid realities, creating garments that exist both in the physical and in the digital world. For example, they create digital garments for avatars that interact with physical objects or garments. And then the third one is, again, a very dear friend of mine, which is called zero ownership. So that students actually develop fashion systems that are based on concept of access rather than owning. So imagine a world where you could change your clothes, and imagine a world where it would be possible to make a living from it, from changing clothes and not producing it. So these are just some of our first ideas, our first initial thoughts that we will present to the Ministry of Education. So you are hearing it before they do it. So I'm curious about your feedback. And those new formats, of course, need new ways of evaluation, which means that we won't look primarily on technical skills, but we will look at other skills like subject-specific skills, self-competency skills, or media competences. So we are, as I said, very much moving towards a new way of teaching and learning, or better to say, to a new way of learning and teaching. So fashion design education can act as a catalyst for an equitable society. Students studying fashion design are critical thinkers capable of transforming and disrupting the fashion industry, not just following it. And last but not least, we need a new role of universities. Universities have to become, again, disruptors where change is happening, and universities should start collaborating with and not working for companies to develop shared solutions, and not only solutions that are useful for the companies. These are my resources for this small talk, and I would like to say thank you for the possibility.
Jure, please join me. I think we will have a long discussion according to your presentation, I'm sure, because please, you opened many issues and totally new approach. It's like a new European Bauhaus almost in the education system, and I think it has many also really similarities, not in a content, but as some kind of flow that that was in Bauhaus 100 and plus years, and it is now that we are facing. So you, first of all, just to clarify, this is a program that is going to be undergraduate program and then master program. And then my question that follows is, do academia has its independency to create curriculum? Is this just an overview for the study program, and then when it goes more deeper into the content, then they can put different, more core skills, knowledges, and competencies within this curriculum?
Exactly. We have the autonomy from the ministry to propose educational systems, and this is just more or less a framework in which further courses will be developed further. And for us, it's very important that we think about the future, because education is about the future. And luckily, the system allows us that we propose those solutions. But when we propose this, then it goes to the Ministry of Education, and there is a body that is responsible for quality. And they then ask international science raziskovalce, huh?
Yeah, researchers.
Researchers,
yeah.
exactly, thank you. They ask them to evaluate the new curriculum. And if we get an okay from those international scientific committee, then the curriculum can become legal and we can apply it.
So this curriculum there's then around the whole Austrian higher education institutions that covers fashion design. They have to include or apply this program within their curriculum.
We are luckily that we are the only one.
Okay.
We are the only institution, so we are applying it, of course. With other universities is always like that. As I said, they're in the cluster. So if two universities are offering the same program in the same cluster, they have to be kind of compatible.
Let me ask you also this, because you're a researcher, educator, fashion designer. How much this helped you, being a fashion designer yourself, understanding the special needs for the fashion design education? It is a bit different, or design in general, but specifically fashion design, because also the industry is very specific, very conservative in a way, like you have said, and didn't really change for 100+ years, almost 200 years.
I've always wanted to become a fashion designer when I was young, and that's why I decided to study fashion design in Vienna. And I studied fashion under Ralph Simons, and he is, in my opinion, one of the best living designers in the world. But I can say this quite loudly and proudly, he was, in my opinion, the worst teacher that you could have. And then when I started teaching at Faculty of Design,
many years ago,
I used the same techniques that he used to educate me. And then I was talking to the students, and the students were not really pleased with the way how I was teaching. And I was like, why? They're just not professional. They don't know how the fashion system works. You have to be depressed. You have to be disappointed. You have to cry. Otherwise, your work is not nice. And then after 2 or 3 years, I started like, Jure, but maybe there's something wrong with you and not with the students. And then I started pursuing my PhD studies, where I actually started to think about education and started to think, okay, but it does not have to be bad. You don't have to be depressed if you study design. You don't have to be crying all the time if you're studying fashion design, but you can have fun and you can learn interesting things. So I think this was a very, very crucial point for me, that I received a bad education, that I wanted to change it.
Yeah, from bad things we can learn, but from good one, rarely it does happen. Let me ask you about this vertical line of educational line, which I think it's very important that we follow all the competencies, how the taxonomy really grows and upgrade, that we don't do things just, you know, for our own sake, but really to follow the improvement of the field that we are covering, professional field. How much did you follow this vertical line when you were preparing the new program that you just presented? And just one experience that I have, many of my students, first year of the undergraduate students, they know that first thing when they come, or maybe the second one, but very soon, I say, maybe we can just rearrange our tables so that I'm not here and you are not there, this front way of educating, and that we make a circle, and maybe they can confirm, I don't know, say yes from the public or no, but they're like confused, like, what does she want from me? Because, you know, this vertical line doesn't support that. They are not accustomed to this kind of attitude throughout the 12 years of education, prior education.
First part of your question, competences. Yeah, we are following Bloom's taxonomy. And the revised Bloom's taxonomy, and all the learning outcomes are based on that. So we start with knowledge and we finish with designing or evaluation. It depends which form of the taxonomy you use. And about your second question, when I started to teach in Vienna, One of my first courses was Introduction to Creativity, and it was just predavanje. It was a lecture. Thank you. It was a lecture. And this lecture was obligatory, so I had there 300 to 400 students every lecture. And when I came in the first time, I wanted to do a trick, so I dressed in like a jogger, and I was not dressed as a professor. Let's say it like that. And I just took my chair, and I was sitting, and I was chatting with the students the first 10 minutes. And then someone said, like, from these 400 people, is he not coming? And then I said, I'm already here. Yeah, and then of course everyone was so super surprised, like, what is he doing? He's here to educate us something, but he's here to talk with us. So we still have those ideas of how a professor should act. How does he or she have to do lectures? Do the lectures really have to be like 45 minutes long? Or is it okay that I say, oh, it's only 30 hours. We have done everything. Let's go home. And these are really so structural problems that are so deeply rooted in the system that the students just don't know how to act with those new realities. And that's why we are focusing on this new curriculum on other skills, which are like, okay, how will you act in a situation like that when you will go to a factory and you will go there for a job interview, and you will see a woman there, and you will start talking with her, and everything will be fine. And then you will say something bad about the company, for example, and then the woman will say, okay, but you're just here for the job interview, and you were just not knowing that she was actually your future boss. Yeah, so these are just like those new situations that the students have to learn, and that are more important than just how to know how to sew a skirt or a shirt or whatsoever. So we need more specific soft skills that they have to develop, and not so much hard skills, because, like, for example, 𝗶𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗃, you're using that at your faculty. They just put it out a micro factory where you just put in like your pattern and you get a product in 10 minutes. So there is no need anymore for those hard skills. But at the same time, this can mean that the production processes will come back to Europe, because if we can have micro companies in our living rooms, this will be a very, very nice thing. And we don't have to think then about sustainability, about long supply chains, about production conditions in India or Serbia. It's just not a thing anymore if we have those micro companies that we can operate ourselves.
Yeah, it's this regenerative economy that we are facing, and I think that all the youngsters, the young fashion designers are facing big challenges, and also their competencies has to be much more, not just broad, but much more complex also. And therefore the education system has to change and adapt, because their education lasts for 5 years, which means that they will be in next 7 years, maybe in some jobs, being responsible for some things, and the world is changing so fast, so we have to be even more faster at the education system. Jure, thank you. Hopefully we will have these long discussions, more deeper constructions, talks also in some other occasions, and we will follow up your program development, and hopefully also maybe to see the application if everything goes well. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
So my next guest is Professor Dr. 𝗶𝗵𝗃 𝗃𝗱𝗃𝗃. She's coming from Belgrade, Serbia. She's university professor at the Metropolitan University in Belgrade, Faculty of Management, and also Faculty of Digital Art. So we have also two educational cluster has to teach at two faculties, where she teaches courses. Now we are from the core courses of fashion design, courses in digital business marketing and fashion marketing. She's the author of numerous academic and professional papers, monographs and books, including one that is in my own library, Fashion Marketing, Contemporary Trends and Neuromarketing Challenges and Trends. With decades of experience in the industry, particularly in corporate and digital communications, she is also the founder of the Center for Communications 𝗨𝗲 and the creator of the FEBS Masterclass program. Additionally, she is the author of the Metropolitan Fashion Day project, which is going to present the title of her work, Metropolitan Fashion Day, nearly a decade of connecting creativity, innovation, and education. Professor Dr. 𝗵𝗸𝗀 𝗃𝗱🐶, please.
Thank you, dear Tanja. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, especially dear students, it is my pleasure to present to you almost the 10-year journey of Metropolitan Fashion Day, a project that connects education, creativity, and innovation. During this presentation, I will guide you through the key moments of this event, its impact on students, the university, and the broader fashion industry. At the end, you will see how this concept can inspire new solutions in both education and industry. Metropolitan Fashion Day started in 2016 as part of the fashion marketing course. The initial idea was simple but visionary: to provide students with an opportunity to apply their knowledge practically through real-world projects. This event is more than just display of creativity, it is bridge between theory and practice. Its focus on sustainability, digitalization, and international collaboration makes it modern and relevant. Our approach to learning is revolutionary. Project-based learning allows students to tackle real-world challenges, while the interdisciplinary method connects fashion, technology, and marketing. Digitalization, with a focus on social media and trends like influencer marketing, puts our students at the forefront of modern communication platforms. Through mentorship, students receive constant support, which contributes their growth and builds their confidence on professional ventures. Now we can see the impact on the impact to the students, and of course, little bit I will share with you now. Just a second. One of the biggest contributions of Metropolitan Fashion Day is the development of students' professional skills, such as leadership, problem solving, and self-confidence. When their work has real impact, when students work, they can see real impact of their work and becomes a turning point for them. Many students use the experience to create professionals' portfolios that later help them find jobs or continue their academic journey. I think that some educational approach and was really specific model to focuses on integrating interdisciplinary aspects. So I told you what the impact was on students, and now I will share with you what impact was to the fashion, to our Metropolitan Fashion University. For our university, Metropolitan Fashion Day was much more than an event. It is a way to position ourselves as leader in innovation education. This platform proves that a university can be both an academic and creative community that encourage innovations. Through Metropolitan Fashion Day project, I will share with you what impact of that project to the fashion industry at all. Through Metropolitan Fashion Day project, the fashion industry gains professionals who understand sustainable practice and innovation in design and technology. Each project brings new perspectives and addresses global challenges with local and regional solutions. This approach allows the industry to integrate sustainable and digital trends in practical way. Let's see now what from that kind of project was really innovative aspect, innovation. Our approach to learning is revolutionary, as I said, but now I will share with you some key moments from the specific events which held a few years ago as the third MFD, Metropolitan Fashion Day, Alice in Wonderland. It's students combining storytelling and fashion. And then, yes, we can see now 3 more events. The fifth MFD, the last specimens, it's held during the pandemic COVID-19. It's nature conservation through fashion design. And the 8th MFD, coexistence, collaboration between different artists. And the previous one, the 9th MFD, diversity, celebrating diversity. Let's see this. Is it possible? Is it technically possible? Thanks. Thank you. It's my portal Flow, Center for Communication Flow. And you can see what students design on theme last specimens, the last specimens during pandemic COVID-19. And they work the first time online event, not classical, on traditional fashion event, fashion show. Okay, do you like it? And let's see the second. Okay.
Don't close that one.
Okay, it's your job. Okay, but return again. MFD coexistence, please, could you open that kind of link? Not this, previous slide. No. And the 8th MFD, please, coexistence, could you open? It's not this. The 8th MFD.
Just click on it.
Sorry. No, it couldn't. Never mind. We have some issue. And okay, let's go. This is one of the very the best video on social media which prepared our students Jana Stanišić. Her brand is 𝗏𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏 Official. He take part on the previous Metropolitan Fashion Day. You can see the metrics. Only in 2 days, they took 2.4 million views and 22,800 likes. Little bit, how to say, communications about that video, and then 1,005 shares and 5,000.2 savings of that kind of video. It's the first viral video in our program, And what we teach the students to prepare some special content to promote their work and present their self and their work and our project to the all public, to the public. And last one, the 10th Metropolitan Fashion Day was really special because that kind of project became, how to say, international. It was my visionary on the 2016 year when I at the beginning of that project. And I am really thankful to our colleague from Slovenia, Tanja, and 𝗚𝗵𝗲, who motivated their students to apply to that project and make it better and bigger than ever before. The theme was past the future fashion as international competition. My colleague, fashion designer Lidija Jovanović, prepared that kind of competition. And focus on that competition was tradition and modern style in fashion. And we can now see a little bit about that project. May I now open this link? Is some technical issue still? The first you have these cookies. Click on. Me. Okay. And this is all team and our competitors. The 8 students prepared this project and on my mentoring, and the others is who applied to the competition. And it was in 𝗨𝗃𝗱𝗂𝗃𝗱𝗃. And now you will see some pictures. It's team's creation. Team one on that project. It was really excellent. It's Dorotea's creation, and is from second part of events. And Jana Stanišić, she likes very much some, how to say, construction form. There could be some video because I want to share the atmosphere with you, because always when you create some events, the atmosphere who feel who take a part of that, and people who came to support and see it, this is very important how they feel when go home and when they leave the event. There is no, I don't know what happened. It is not what I want to share with you, but never mind. You'll see this kind of creation of the students, all participants. And now the key results of the 10 Met Fashion Days. The first one, region collaboration. It is very important for ours from my faculty and the university, and for myself, my colleague, because Serbia is not a member in EU, and collaboration with the member for that organization, and like Slovenia, as Slovenia is very important for us. And so I have very nice and special experience with collaborating with the Slovenia colleagues from Slovenia. And then this was significant media coverage. We still collected all results, all insights, and maybe next our meeting we can share with you. And if somebody want to know the results, I will send you. You will see at the end my email address. You can write me. Be free for this. And active engagement on social media platforms. For conclusion, what we achieved, it's very important. The first of all, Metropolitan Fashion Day is not, as I says, merely an event. It represents an educational model through practice experience. It was the most important for us. And it showed how can the connection between education and industry be further enhanced. At the end, I will leave you with the questions. What would happen if we expanded this model to other industries? And could you imagine a world where students shape the future while they are still learning? And now this is the video which I want to show share with the with students especially and colleagues.
The video is not public, we can see it.
I don't know. Never mind. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened with this. What?
The video we wanted to show is not public. It's only for friends only. We can't see it.
No, it's on my Facebook
But
profile.
maybe we can all then have a check on the
Okay. It's on my Facebook
website by
profile.
𝗵𝗸𝗀 and you can all have a look. Maybe
Yes.
for the in
Yes,
quiet, and
it's
many
okay.
times you can have a look, and we will just talk through something that you have mentioned. 𝗵𝗸𝗀, if you can join me, please. Please. So again, the invitation for all of you, you can have a look at video this displayed on the Facebook page of my
Yes.
guest, 𝗵𝗸𝗀. 𝗵𝗸𝗀, you also use the term learning, as we have heard, and you are also very much into the public relations. Communication is your core subject, which you not just teach, but you are all your career within it. So communication also, as we heard before with Jure, he emphasized that at one of the core covering areas that in the future in education should be. I'm wondering, we all know about soft skills. Also, you are very much into the human resources business. So, and you teach those things at other faculties. But soft skills are dominant in the hiring, in the human resources field, in the hiring processes, how you can, those are the competencies, the skills that actually are they're gaining the importance. But my question is, we all try to teach them to learn how they learn, or how can we evaluate in the curricula those soft skills? It's very difficult, How can we measure if somebody is very collaborative, if someone has some these skills which are not really measurable, but yet they are very, very important in the future?
Thank you, Tanja, for that really good questions, and that very important. Soft skills is really modern term, you know, but it's not, it was previous. We know somebody who is in team on in organization is better for communication, is better for problems, is good for problem solving, etc., etc. First of all, I will tell you why I made the project Metropolitan Fashion Day, especially for fashion designer students on fashion design. I want to teach them in a practical way. First of all, we made a team. And then in that team, they took, every of them has a specific role. The first of all, coordinator, and then PR manager and marketing manager, and then somebody for logistic, and then somebody for, and then creative director, you know. And the first, when on the starting of the project, they first has brainstorming and chose the topic theme of their work on that project. During that process, I can see who can be leader on that team. And the others, I see who has not enough self-confidence, and work with them, with them I work especially, because I think if they work practically, they feel it project and they build their self-confidence. It is more important. Self-confidence is one of the most important soft skills today, you know, and then resilience, problem solving, you know. If we, this project is all pro bono. And the first challenge is to find the space, pro bono space for that, for the event. And the event always spending during near New Year, where is everything and everybody want to earn money. That is the special period in the year. Is it during the summer? It could be better, but it's not. And then after that, we have to find pro bono models, about 20 to 30 models, and DJ who makes fantastic atmosphere, and makeup artist and hairdresser, and somebody who want to give us something to drink, coffee, water, etc., you know. And if we don't solve one small thing on that, a project will not be good enough, you know, and they know this. You can imagine this is how they feel at the beginning, little bit scared and little bit lost in space. And at the end, when everything was okay, they was really happy. This is time where, during which they build their self-confidence. And then this project is very, very nice situation for them, because they can create something and show, and it is for their portfolio as a fashion designer is very good, and their role in that project different than fashion designer shows that that they have more skills, not only in fashion design. And the beginning, the colleague from Austria, I think, says that micro company, it's one person, and in their room is a modern way to build a business. And every of them started like that. And that means that couldn't pay some professional marketing manager, etc., etc. They know to do how, they know how to promote their self, their business, their idea.
So in Slovenia, we are already in the future because we have micro fashion businesses already for many years. Nothing has to do with local production or anti-globalism, but it just happened because of other circumstances. But nevertheless, it's a good jumping point for us. So we are already advanced, so to say, because all these young fashion designers already step in the world which is going to be, but maybe the educators, we don't prepare them for the world like that. One question, so Metropolitan Fashion Day is all about the collaboration, cross-cultural, cross-institutional, cross-economic system, developed developed levels of economic system. What is the future? What are the future perspectives of this fashion, Metropolitan Fashion
I'm
Day?
happy to share with you that we have the lightest future, I think, because we find collaborators as you and as other colleague from Slovenia and from Macedonia. Regional, it's very, very good chance to cooperate and build it. So I want to say thanks our colleague Svetlana from Skopje Fashion Weekend, Skopje Fashion Weekend, who gave the prize for give award to the winners, and they can show their creations on the spring summer fashion weekend in Skopje. And in next year I can talk with all of you what the topic would be next. Sustainable is something which is all incorporate in every our action. And I hope that our cooperation became bigger and that all together we can find some support for some institution and help us to develop more, and maybe much more students will apply next year on that.
So this is already the invitation for the next year, Metropolitan Fashion Days. And we are now, thank you, Milica.
Thank you too.
And we are now entering also to the last episode of this international symposium. And we'll be talking about more informal education. And my guest is Dr. Monika Rogel from Gorenjska Muzeum Kranj. She's a museum counselor at the Gorenjska Museum in Kranj, where she's a curator and she takes care of the museum's collections of recent history. She's the author of numerous museum exhibitions and catalogs, among them also about Slovenian textile, a brand called Textina in Vezenine Bled, sorry, my mistake. Her special attention is taken to the research of economic and social history and to the study and interpretation of museum collections of industrial heritage. She examines the role of industrialization processes in the development of present-day image of the region of Gorenjska in Slovenia. She will present the work Textile Heritage Collections of the Gorenjska Museum. Monika, please.
Hello. Thank you for the invitation to present our textile collections as example for fashion education or part of fashion education. I come from regional museum with a lot of different collections from material part or from fields of archaeology, ethnology to the modern history. I'm working on the field of modern history, and in this part is also textile heritage very important. But just a small part of our textile heritage, textile objects are part of the permanent exhibitions. The mainly parts are in our storage and just occasionally used for our exhibitions on different topics. Here is our permanent exhibition 𝗨𝗱𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗁 Gorenjska in Kranj about the history of Gorenjska region. The textile objects or collections are divided between different fields from ethnology to cultural history to modern history. Here have I some examples from clothes from 19th century to the 20th century, about textiles, about decorating a home and so on. That's one part of our collections, but I will talk more about industry industry heritage collections from as a production of our factories, because Gorenjska was an important center of textile industry through the 20th century. In this field of modern history, textile heritage of 20th century, we have very different objects from fabrics, example of fabrics of many are the books with the fabrics examples, also the clothes and so on. But we have also materials as documentary materials from these fabrics, like technology of different drawings and so on. And also a lot of prints, like catalogs or different prints for advertising, and that's also an important part because it helps us to document these objects or these archives from the fabrics from the factory that we are becoming in our collection. One part is also important are photos, photo archives. In one part, the documentary photos are with the clothes from different eras, and the other parts are the documentary photos from factories, working in factories, products, and so on. And also, as you know, textile is very fragile, and our main occupation is to provide enough storage, suitable storage for all these thousands and thousands of objects, and that's a big problem in our museums fields right now. All the time, as I'm working in the museum, but now it's not, after 2 decades of working, it's not much better. So that's one of big tasks for the future. Of course, we are working on these collections, especially here is the example how my colleague from ethnology was working on the clothes from 19th century. All the collection was studied in a group of different experts, like a study group. And at the end, they were preparing exhibition and also a catalog. As Tanja mentioned, I prepared or I studied about factory Vezenine that we have much more than 400 units of their heritage in our museum. So I also prepared the exhibition and the catalog. These 2 catalogs are here as an example. That's very important that we prepare this kind of publishing our collection, because after that we become much more information from people. They were working on this new information, new objects, and so on. And also we have another on textile collections included in different exhibitions from on other topics. These were just a few examples. As I mentioned, our collection model of textile collection for modern history reflects the textile industry through the 20th century, and we also we have on every factory just at least a few objects or prints that documenting their production. On others, much more. On some a little, but everything starts with the home linen production and wool production in 19th century, also coloring these fabrics, and in beginning of 20th century we have first examples from these factories like Sukno and Ancestors. A lot of factories began to work in 20s, 30s, and they were working until 90s. Some were closing their doors in beginning of this century. And the first factory was factory in Tržič, bombažna predilnica in tkalnica Tržič. This is example of their production from 70s and 90s. And in between in 20s, 30s, there was a big factory, Jugočeška in Kranj and Jugobruna, and we have big collection of their example of books of their fabrics that they were producing. Also, after the Second World War, there was Tiskanina in Intex, and after that, Tekstilni Kranj, and where the factory in 1991 closed door, we accepted all the archives of these books. So another important factory for decorative textiles was in Kranj, and in Škofja Loka was also important textile center. From there, we don't have so many objects, but more the documentary prints and so on. And confections or garment industry was important in 30s in Kranj, and then after Second World War, there were factories like Gorenjska oblačila, Triglav konfekcija. They were known for their quality clothes and for their design, and also in Škofja Loka. And Almira is one of the best examples of good design in these factories. And Vezenine Bled, there was factory unique in our Slovenian fields, and they were working on the embroidery and laces. And we also have their archives from closing the factory. And the last factory that was closing in textile industry in Gorenjska was Šešir Škofja Loka in 2016, I think. So that's an overview about textile collection in our Gorenjska Museum. Thank you.
So Monica, please join me. We will have some short talk about the collections that you have in Gorenjska Museum in Kranj. I strongly believe that museums are places for informal education, and probably should be more incorporated in the future also in the educational processes. And you also showed that you are very much connected with the business sector. Maybe after they are gone, they do not exist anymore, but nevertheless, that is a very important part of your work as well, at least from as past, doing it today, but for tomorrow also many good informations that you hold in your archives. How do you how do you as a part of the museum, as being a museum woman, how do you foresee the future role of the museums or galleries, this museology of fashion? How do you what kind of integration of an educational system can you imagine to be? Or do you see any correlation between those two sectors in a sense of future cross-institutional connections that we have talked today?
As first, our main public in the museum are different schools from elementary and middle schools, but we don't work a lot with the faculties or so. There's just a few projects like Project Vabljeni that was through the Lighthouse provided with your faculty and so. But we are always, how to say, we are prepared to collaborate when someone to approach us with a question or with the research project that includes our collections. It's no problem to work to research to overlook this collection. So I think there's much more possibility in the future to work this way. As a researcher and students, they are coming from to working on their degrees and so on.
So as we heard, students will be also researchers, and this is some kind of open curricula from the museum, which actually gives us from the educational part much more responsibility to approach, to give some new ideas. As we are approaching the closure right on time, I guess, of this International Museum, this open curriculum gives a lot of possibilities at the moment already to connect cross-institutional collaborations, to learn from the archives as well. They are not that stock, but they're actually a very alive source of information, can bring new perspectives for the fashion design, not just in the educational system, but also in a sense of building a better society that we live all together in. And I do apply for all of you to come now and then to Gorinska Museum and have a look on their very, very rich collections that you have on textiles, on clothing, on knitting, or different aspects, not just business, but also techniques that you are holding. And for sure, your email will be full of questions and inquiries that will, after you're joining us and presenting the collections that you have in Gorinska Museum.
Can I add?
Yeah, of course, Monica.
First step is maybe the digital of Muzeum 𝗧𝗵𝗂 where the part of collection in of Slovenian museums are published. So that's first information about our collections. And on, for example, on our web page, it's also there are published all our catalogs from previous exhibitions. So that's also one source of first information about our collection that you may be interested in. So that's there are many ways, or as in direct email question, there's also we are willing to provide the information that you need or that you hope to get.
And just to add, we are just in the middle of the second part of the week, where Gorenjska museum is also part of the association of this platform, digital platform of Association of Museums of Slovenia, where actually all are participating digitally with different activities and sources which are shared on the different digital platforms. Check it out. I think you will find some of the very good examples of how informal education can also look like. Thank you, Monica. Thank you all the participants. Thank you, 𝗏𝗏 for technical support that we managed to come till the end. Thank you all of you for coming here, sharing all your knowledge, skills. I hope that the students get some additional competencies being here, and hope to see you on the next discussions that for sure we'll be having on education in the fashion design, because we are really facing great changes and we have to embrace them. Thank you and all the best. Ja imam vaša imena i sve da bih